through it. The days where it feels slow. Creating animated shorts in Canva is a lot easier than you think. Today I'm going to show you how to sync beat markers and visuals to bring your animations to life. Here's the step-by-step. We're going to go to Create. We're going to go to Mobile Video Landscape. From here, we're going to upload our VoiceOver. For this particular VoiceOver, I've made this in GarageBand. Removing the space in your audio is important to do off-platform. We need to match our graphic with our audio. So from here, we need to pull this and make sure that our graphic has the same amount of time as our audio. And then we can trim this up because we don't need empty space. And then we can snap this into position and we're ready to go. So now let's make some beat markers. Do you ever feel stuck? Here's our first split. And that's our first beat marker. Sometimes the progress you want feels like it's happening somewhere else. And that's our second beat marker. So now that we have our graphics set with the beat we want into it, let's implement a graphic. So it's important to know that 2.4 seconds is our first graphic intro. We'll go to Elements and just put in the statement we're trying to portray in that particular part of the voiceover. But sometimes they're going to have a longer duration than what you intended. So we need to bring it back to our original time because that's why we made our beat marker. So then you can implement that. And then you can change the slide as you need. So if you wanted to change the background, you just do something of the sort. And then you can add an element to it, like say an animation to it, and you can have it kind of come in from the side. See how this next slide sounds for us. Sometimes the progress you want feels like it's happening somewhere else. You do the same thing as you would just look up progress, say, and you can implement a couple different things and have them come in at different times. This is sometimes what I like to do. Say we're just not going to really overthink this too much, but you bring these in, and now if we go to position, layers, you're going to see these two show up on your board, and that's how you know which one you're working with. And you can change the duration on how they're going to enter in this 10-second clip. So here's a case in point where I forgot to look at the duration of this beat marker. So we know we already have it marked here, but let's say you wanted to go back and it's 3.7 seconds. We can go and move forward to where we were, and now we can change this to 3.7 seconds. And then we need to change the duration. So let's go back to position and let's find a place for these to come in at. So we're going to have this one come in about halfway through, and then this one we'll make sure is through the whole duration. Okay, now we have our first couple of graphics with our timing. Now we want to create a transition, and you put your cursor on the middle of your graphic here. It'll give you a couple options, and one of them is add transition. So we're going to add a transition. The match and move transition is probably the most popular. You see how the story starts to build, and then you can put in some sound effects. So let's say we wanted a sound effect here to show this thing moving up. So we'd go to Elements again. That's a little too fast because I don't think we're moving. Our goals never move that fast. So a slow sound up. You can't overthink these. So let's just put this in, and so we can make a point of what we're trying to do with this. So you want to move it into your box where we have in this thing come in at, and we have this for the full duration. So we'll just put this for the full duration of our clip. Now we need to make sure that our sound is not too high. So a good background is probably going to be around 17, I think. Start. And let's see how we sound here. Sometimes the progress you want feels like it's happening somewhere else, to someone else. And then that's our break. And then we can implement our next graphic and idea for our storyline. After you fill in all your graphics, it should look a little something like this on your timeline. Now we want to implement our background music. So how we want to do that is if you have a specific, you can upload your sound and go to audio again and find your background music. Canva has a wonderful selection of music, so you can go to Elements and look up audio. So here we have our audio, and we want to make sure it's opening up where we want it. So you just add in a clip, cut it, and then churn it down. So that's how you create an empty space for this area here, and then you can add in your sound right behind it. Through it, the days where it feels slow. See how it kind of gives it a little dramatic pause. So there you have it. I hope that helped. Let's preview our final product. Do you ever feel stuck? Sometimes the progress you want feels like it's happening somewhere else, to someone else. But that's not true. Progress is happening every time you choose to work through something, not around it, not over it, through it. The days where it feels slow, that's your foundation settling. The ones where it feels like a grind, that's you building calluses where you used to break. You can be frustrated and still be growing. You can be tired and still be moving. It's not about feeling good all the time. It's about choosing to keep going even when it doesn't feel easy. Stay with it. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way."